Let me take you all down memory lane. It was a bright sunny morning, and your mom asked you to go to the grocery store to buy some atta and vegetables. Now, you make it to the grocery store in the scorching heat, and you hand over the 100 rupees. But then you notice something, that Diana has forgotten his first grade mathematics and given you back an extra 20 rupees. And like a sneaky little prick you are, you keep your mouth shut and slowly walk away. You're delighted. You're over the moon, and you go splurge that 20 rupees on an ice cola or a samosa. That is a joy that all of us feel when we take advantage of people's gullibility and play things smartly. The world has seen scamsters in many forms. You who robbed Reddiana of 20 rupees just because you were an evil prick. A man who robbed billions of dollars of common men like you and I through fancy words like cryptocurrency and blockchain. Who dazzled us with diamonds, but later made us realize that diamonds are not forever. That man was Modi. Who else did you guys think I was talking about? Ladies and gentlemen, prepare yourself for the most iconic scams in history that will not only fascinate you, but also leave you in awe. Welcome to Scams 101.
In high school, watching my dad discuss business plans with his friends used to be my day job. I felt super smart. Why, you ask? Because those plans seemed so simple, I felt even I could be a part. They contained all the bingo words, 2-time bonuses, Ruby level stakeholders. It all felt like some fancy. But to my disappointment, my dad used to reject them every time. And it was only a few years later that I realized he was doing the right thing. Now, my dad could reject them because he has the understanding and the financial stability to do so. But for many Indians, financial stability is a foreign concept. And the same fact was too telling in Bengal in 2000s. And it was also the Hussain who came to their rescue. With quite a simple enough financial structure, a bit of religious spin to his master plan, he called his venture Star. And I think he would agree. And all our economic security, astronomical returns, and an army of motivated agents is the formula for success in our nation, and Sen had figured it out. But he knew it would not be enough. With enormous funds at his disposal, he invested in the Bengal film industry and got the likes of Mithun Chakraborty to endorse his schemes. Not only that, he invested in East Calcutta and Bengal FC and invited Lionel Messi for a club match. All this at the expense of hard-earned public money. But why do these tactics thrive in India? It's because we Indians are probably the most emotional people on the planet. In the frenzy of watching our favorite movie stars and sport icons endorsing a scheme, we don't care that the guy who is offering a suspicious 40% return on our investment has a plastic surgery in the past for some fraudulent reason, or the fact that no matter what TV channel you switch to, it's the same ad about the same scheme being played over and over again. The public was all in, with over 400 crores invested in these schemes by those who had come to reveal to the innocent. But the cat was out of the bag. The kingpin of Sarda got a call from SEBI. But every time he was interrogated, he made sure that they would have a tough time by spouting out some ideology about helping the poor, and even started representing Sarda as 239 separate entities as if it was a game of cat and mouse. Here's the climax. The Bengal government set up a manual investigation to look into the matter. And it was no surprise, the corrupt police commissioner, Rajiv Kumar, who had already been benefiting from public money and wasn't too deep. How did this come to happen? Turns out, Honorable Mamata Banerjee had decided to go for Olympic Picasso and sold her own paintings to the Sarda group for 2 crores. And the police, being the puppet that they are in their hands, came in as facilitating the dust. Finally, when the dust settled, she made sure Rajiv was out of the picture by giving him an entire too deep. How did this come to happen? The ending is not at all being the puppet was arrested is out of control. The company's assets were frozen, but I use this. People who once tried to find a god in someone have lost faith in theirs, while some are still trying to hold on, hoping that this adversity somehow gets transformed into an opportunity. What's the meaning of all this? I mean, we experiment to protect us from these schemes, these fraudsters, to protect our seniors when their minds begin to wander, to protect our kids before they have learned the value of a rupee. Yet here we are, strangers in a vast desert of greed where vultures like Sen and many others roam and feed. But I believe to make it through, we'll always have the basics, we'll always have 101.
Catch. I tossed the cube to a guard. He wondered how to solve it while I walked through the security check. Little did he know that I was not trying to get colors together, but instead, he was helping me leak hundreds of thousands of top secrets. Now, there are only two questions that arise. How and why? Well, I was a private contractor of the CIA, hence the access. Now just imagine, every border you cross, every purchase you make, every call you dial, every cell phone tower you pass is all in the reach of a system whose reach is unlimited, but whose safeguards are not. And when I realized I too was one of these people, it hit me. Now you may wonder who this I in question is. The I being referred to is Edward Joseph Snowden, a 29-year-old who risked his whole life, career and family to expose the scammers. The scammers not being a person, but a whole government. The US government tracked and had information of all those people who might be I realized I too was one of includes the ministers and the presidents to people like now me and you through their contacts. I in question is. The I being referred to was such a Edward Joseph Snowden required. There was hope, or at least that's what Snowden thought when Barack Obama became the president. Like every other fake politician and their promises, Barack Obama promised to ensure rights to privacy. Well, Snowden was wrong. Nothing changed. At least, was it worth it? The NSA kept track of all American citizens, calling them the potential threat. But ironically, could not catch hold of all the bombings and the explosives around the country. Maybe basic human ethics. The NSA had a secret code, the FISA code, which granted them a warrant and kept all their meetings classified. This satisfied the guilt of all those who were involved. They called it defense. However, we know there was just invasions through our lives. It is very common for us to hear that the right-hand man of a hero turns into a villain. But this story is different. Here, the villain turns into a hero. Don't we all know that this transition doesn't just happen? This happens only when one's actions affect his own. Not looking to the eyes of the camera, knowing that they might. This is when he realized there was not just one of the scammers, he was one of the victims too. Though Snowden was a criminal for going against the law, the military beliefs he preached, was he really the criminal? He was right, and his actions were in the favor of the country. Not the government, but the people. Like the best moments in our life come as a surprise to us in the most unfortunate times. Snowden's flight layover in Russia was one such time to him. The people he risked everything for looked out for him. They protested and they kept him safe. While one government let him down, the other took him in.
Everybody likes a story about an underdog,
someone out of the ordinary, and a genius who comes once in a lifetime, someone who wanted to dedicate his life for the good of the world. Now, unfortunately, this is not one of those stories. Let me start with the basic question. We all want to make money, right? And we all want to make it quick. Now, what if I tell you that there's a box which you can keep all your money in, and this box will return you the money tenfold? How could you not be tempted? That is how cryptocurrency is being advertised these days. And that is how the protagonist, or may I say, the antagonist of our story promised it. Sam Bankman-Fried, an MIT graduate. Now, when I say MIT, I don't mean our mighty MIT. I mean the actual MIT. He was the owner of FTX, one of the biggest crypto exchanges at the time, and worth $10 billion at the age of 26. He was a genius. He made an image for himself by regularly giving away to charity and making good ties with the biggest names in the political and finance sphere. He built a company from ground up, which is at the time worth $32 billion in his 20s. He was called the JP freaking Morgan of cryptocurrency. Now, what's not to like about a billionaire giving his wealth away? Before FTX, Sam had another company called Alameda Research. This was a trading firm. Alameda Research regularly provided funds to FTX as a market maker. FTX was soaring high as one of the most used crypto exchanges at the time. Big names like Shaq, Steph Curry, Kevin O'Leary, Larry David all stood with FTX and fully supported it. Now, things may seem uphill for Sam, but what happens next was about to change his life forever. Remember how I mentioned that Alameda Research used its own funds to make a profit? Now, what if I tell you that things are not the way they seemed? A leaked image showing the balance sheet of Alameda Research proved that most of the funds that Alameda Research had were customers' deposits into FTX, and this was all orchestrated by Sam to keep Alameda Research going. This was a major case of financial fraud, ladies and gentlemen, and this defied all the policies that FTX advertised to its customers. People were distraught. Imagine the company you put all your money into, siphoning this money off to some other company solely for the purpose of personal profits. The image created by Sam of a generous billionaire was shattered, and the price of $8 billion was paid not by Sam Bankman-Fried. It was paid by the millions of personal profits lost them. The image created by Sam of a generous billionaire was shattered. $8 billion was paid not by Sam Bankman-Fried. It was paid by the millions of personal profits lost them. The image created by Sam of a generous billionaire was shattered. Multiple decades of prison by the millions of persons. So I guess the price of the image created by Sam multiple decades of prison by the sun was set into the so I guess the price of the image created by Sam
Something wasn't quite right. Someone was volumes on it. Sure, there were two guards guarding the premises, but that didn't calm his conscience. He had to be sure for himself. So he grabbed a flashlight and checked. Checked the conference room, the coffee room, the break room, no. And then finally, he checked the vault. The money, exactly where it was supposed to be, and he quickly started counting the money. His guilty conscience getting to him convincing it that no, he wasn't really stealing, he was going to double, no, triple the money and return what he owed. He quickly stuffed all of it into a duffel bag and swiftly made an exit. For Ren's offering, it was good to be the boss. If he wasn't the vault manager himself, it would have been nearly impossible to rob the bank. He swiftly made an exit and finally reached his car, where suddenly a hand grabbed his shoulder. It was one of the guards. Asked him, "You look nervous. Is everything okay?" Ren thought to himself that it was a good idea. Now you might be wondering, how did this brilliant man plan on doubling or tripling his money? Well, his brilliant plan was to put it all into the lottery and hope to make it big. Now Ren was about to go through the one thing that would ruin his life forever. Can you guess what happened? He won the lottery. Big time. Big enough to feed his confidence, but not big enough to last forever. So he went back, covered his tracks, returned what he owed, and lived happily ever after. Then 5 months later, he blew it all. It happens to every lottery winner, it happens to every jackpot winner. An exorbitant amount of money is never the answer to all your problems, even though right now it might seem like it. So then went back, got another bank manager in on his plan, and this time decided on taking half the bank's money, somewhere in 3 to 4 millions, and very quickly learned the concept of beginner's luck, or rather, running out of beginner's luck, because he lost all of it. Then he thought to himself, in for a penny, in for a pound, and took the other half as well, and blew it all. Two won and a dream. That is what Ren started with. 2-1 is the cost of lottery tickets in China, and was not only the cost of Ren's dreams, but millions of people around the world who hope to make it big in the face of absolutely impossible odds. Not realizing that the one thing that's best is take everything you can give it and give absolutely nothing back. If it was that easy to win the lottery, everyone would be playing it. Because though millions do play the lottery, billions still don't. Because the lottery is a fake, delusional fantasy of money and materialism made for the weak masses who have neither. For Ren Zhaofeng and his associates, it doesn't end very well. But they had to pay for their greed and their dreams in blood, and were soon executed after their whole ordeal was found out about. And the lottery system lived another day to bait lucky players into a rigged game.
Put yourself in her shoes. 19 in a world where capitalism threatens all. The rich play with the world, treating us like toys, sitting in their cushy chairs in the heart of Silicon Valley. And you want a piece of the action. You want to hold the power in your hand, hear the masses commend you, listen to you, be enamored by your actions, call you the next Steve Jobs. Elizabeth Holmes wanted it all. To be an entrepreneur, to drop out of college like other tech geniuses, to be self-made, to be someone. This is not a tale of rags to riches. This is not even a heroic tale. This is a story of greed. Greed that consumes all. It was greed that led Holmes to where she was, and it was greed that made everyone around her life. And what a fraud it was. Now, the founder of Theranos, Elizabeth rose to fame as the single most promising CEO of her time in the Silicon Valley, enrapturing audiences with a simple yet relatable startup. Now, how many of you are afraid of needles? Well, so was she. It was this fear that led to the development of her sole product, a machine that could run a blood test with a small prick of the finger, a few drops of blood. No longer would you have to stab needles in your arm and run vials upon vials of blood. No long waiting times or having to drive all the way to a hospital. Instead, her machine, lovingly dubbed Edison, would run a blood test in a matter of minutes. These tests could be administered anywhere, out of a pharmacy, out of a grocery store, wherever you so desire. But of course, I wouldn't be talking about it today if this machine was all rainbows and sunshine. In fact, it was a scam so big that it drained its wealthiest investors of millions and millions of dollars every single day in the height of its popularity. Between 2003 and 2014, Holmes grew Theranos, securing funding from investors, building infrastructure, developing the company's proprietary processes. Over $700 million dollars of an investor's money gone in the blink of an eye with the collapse of therapies. What do you think finally got you caught? The hundreds of misdiagnosed tests? The false promises to the consumers that need a cheaper alternative to traditional blood tests? The blatant mistreatment of your employees that even got one to take his own life? No. Elizabeth didn't go to jail for the crime she committed. She went to jail because she scammed the wrong rich person. She wasn't convicted for patients or putting their life at risk. She was convicted for federal fraud against her big name employees. And this is the bitter reality of scam artists like this. They may target huge corporations and investors, but those organizations, they have insurance, the resources to bounce back, the money to get back on their feet. You know who doesn't? The people who got strung along, the victims, the employees, the patients who got involved entirely by accident, and now with not even enough reparations to go back to normal. And where does her conviction leave us today? Right, for the next huckster program, the next Silicon Valley promise that is so sweet that we can't possibly get enough of them. Immortality, flying cars, Mars, crypto, digital harmony, wealth, beyond compare. As American novelist Fisher always said, we will always be a sucker for the future that year by year recedes before us.
So well, there you have it. Scams 101 all combined into a nutshell for you. We hope you enjoyed this time as much as we enjoyed curating this elaborate list of scammers for you. Now, be it Sam Bankman or Ren Xiaofei, scams, small or big, tend to trigger something within us. I mean, what is up with the air market? What is SLCM? And what is up with the one-day Diwali holiday? Now guys, speaking of Mamta Didi, I think she's very relatable. I mean, my best friend who is in the audience right now, who doesn't open my text for a day, and I'm just like,
Mr. Prime Minister, Mr. Busy Prime Minister, Mr. Monkey Dog Prime Minister.
now well, keeping an open eye, but still having a heart that takes risks is what will get us through these scams. Now it's on you to give those 20 rupees back to Reddy Anna so that the shop you as a kid bought chocolates from can exist so that you as an adult can buy groceries from them. Ladies and gentlemen, oh wait, before I forget, we'll pass around a piece of paper, guys. Just put down your name and registration number so that we can give you 2 days worth of attendance for attending this talk. Like, come on guys, you're getting attendance. Okay guys, well, this was Scam 101 by Blank 101, and congratulations on believing that, because you have just been scammed.
So with that, we come to the end of Scam 101, and honestly, this one's a little too special for me personally and also for the rest of the board, because this is the first talk for us as the board. And the first one's always special, right? But there are some people that we have to talk about here, starting with Aditi ma'am. You being here is always important to have a pillar of support. Also, MIT itself for the hall. MD Game for always coming to church. Thank you for the amazing pictures. Milind, our in-house videographer. And finally, we could have had all the practice, we could have made the best presentation, but there's no point if the audience did not show up. So I know all of you have a busy schedule. Thank you for taking the time out. It means the world to us. And this was Scams 101, and all of you are free to leave. Thank you so much.
How do you stop this?